Welcome to the UK news on September 22nd, 2021. First, we have to talk about the gas crisis again. Because according to Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the energy crisis in Great Britain with soaring gas prices can last for several months. It will take time for the global industry to recover from the consequences of the corona pandemic, said Johnson on Monday night during a visit to New York. But it's worse in the UK than everywhere else. It's as if everyone turns on the kettle at the end of a TV show. There is an enormous strain on the global supply systems, Johnson said. At the same time, Johnson tried to reassure consumers. The disturbances are only temporary, like the Brexit consequences. And he said, market forces will even out very quickly and we will do everything we can to help. Economy Minister Kwasi Kwarteng wanted to consult with energy companies at a crisis meeting yesterday, and we will see what happened about this. It's expected that the corporations will demand state support. Gas prices in the UK have risen 250% since the beginning of the year. The government does not want to protect smaller utilities from bankruptcy, as the newspaper The Guardian reported. This is to prevent consumer prices from rising further. The customers are to be the companies are to be auctioned off to larger companies. The crisis is also affecting food and beverage manufacturers. The food producer Bernard Matthews warned that the Christmas dinner could be cancelled. The sharp rise in gas prices has resulted in the closure of two large fertilizer plants that produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Among other things, the CO2 is required for vacuum packaging of meat or beer. But the health industry is also affected. Because of the lack of CO2, operations could be cancelled. So surgery could be cancelled, the NHS Health Service said. This would increase the enormous backlog in the clinics. And now let's come to UK exports. Goods imports from Britain to the Republic of Ireland have fallen by a third as a result of Brexit, while Irish exports to Britain have increased by 26%. The latest trade figures from the Central Statistics Office, the CSO, figures reveal a significant Brexit impact on the Irish-British trade since the start of the year. The value of goods imports from Great Britain was €6.3 billion, a decrease of 32% or €2.9 billion compared with the same period in 2020. The largest decreases were in the imports of food and live animals and machinery and equipment. The CSO said several factors contributed to the large reduction in imports from the British, including the challenges of complying with customs requirements. And now we have to talk about pigs in blankets. You will know what I'm talking about. Sausages in a dressing gown are a Christmas classic in the UK. The excitement was therefore great when Andrew Keeble, head of the English sausage manufacturer Heck, recently warned his compatriots of possible delivery bottlenecks during the holidays, something we've heard before. The reason: many slaughterhouses have cut production due to the acute labor shortage in the kingdom and are delivering less meat. Keeble himself is also desperately looking for staff. His son Roddy even got a truck driver's license to deliver goods because there are too few truck drivers. Everyone has their opinion why there are these bottlenecks, said the entrepreneur to the Daily Mail. The truth is that numerous Eastern Europeans have gone home and don't want to come back. They don't feel welcome after Brexit, which is a shame, he said. 9 months after Brexit, so the full Brexit, almost full, the UK is a country at the limit. If the supply of pigs and blankets is no longer even guaranteed, something must be wrong. And now let's get to a topic I called Haunted by the Past. The Prime Minister and his Vote Leave ally Michael Gove promised in 2016 that gas bills would be slashed if voters backed Brexit. Writing for The Sun ahead of the EU referendum, the Tory pair pledged fuel bills will be lower for everyone, as they outlined plans to cut VAT on household energy payments. The Vote Leave bosses said leaving the EU would allow Westminster to scrap a £2 billion per year tax on electricity prices. Gove and Johnson claimed they could fund this out of £11 billion a year saved from Britain's contribution to the European Commission. So where is it? because in 2021, wholesale prices for gas have surged by 250% since January, with a 70% rise since August alone, causing energy bills to soar. Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng is holding a fresh round of crisis talks with the energy industry amid fears more small suppliers could go to the wall, as we would say in Germany. It is thought the gas crisis would increase household bills by up to £400 a year and even exacerbate food shortages due to lack of carbon dioxide, as I said earlier, which is used in meat production and the distribution of frozen food. Food, not food. And now let's come to Novavax. In the UK, thousands of volunteer participants in corona vaccine tests by the manufacturer Novavax are unable to prove their vaccination status. They therefore do not enjoy any freedoms, for example, when traveling. Activists have now petitioned Health Minister Sajid Javid for support. The approximately 15,000 British volunteers in trials with the active ingredient are significantly disadvantaged, writes the Novavax UK Concerned Participants Group there, as the PA news agency reported on Monday. The US company's vaccine has not yet been approved. Half a year ago, the company reported positive study results. The volunteer Jill Ince said, "I wanted to make my contribution to the fight against corona, but I feel completely betrayed by the system and am now trapped without a vaccination status." She was assured that she would not suffer any disadvantages because of her participation. She says, "It's incredibly stressful and I feel like a prisoner." The government stressed that the tests were extremely important in the development of the vaccines. Any decision that a participant in a vaccine study should receive an alternative vaccination should be made in cooperation with the doctors who lead the study. She is eager to resolve the question. Previously, according to a report in the Sunday newspaper Observer, the British Deputy Medical Government Advisor Jonathan Van Tam had suggested that the UK should withhold clinical data from the tests if European countries refuse to allow the participants to enter, which is quite a nonsense. A Novavax spokesman said the company was in talks with the various regulatory agencies and expected to be able to submit the applications in the coming months. And another attempt of blackmailing the EU will help, definitely. Idiots. But now let's come to the importance of vaccination. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson highlighted the importance of corona vaccines at a meeting with Brazil's unvaccinated head of state, Jair Bolsonaro. The two met on Monday on the sidelines of the general debate at the UN General Assembly in New York. To kick off the conversation, Johnson said to reporters that escorted him out of the room, "Thanks everyone, get AstraZeneca vaccine." Addressing Bolsonaro, he added, "I've had it twice." He meant that the vaccine developed by Oxford University. I had BioNTech twice, by the way. The Brazilian president pointed to himself and said, "Not yet." Then Bolsonaro laughed. After the meeting, Johnson's office said the Prime Minister had highlighted the importance of vaccines as our best tool to fight the virus and save lives around the world. Here, around the world, exactly. But now we have the topic of priorities. Because British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wants to give booster vaccination in his own country clear priority over the donation of vaccine doses to poorer countries. So much about around the world. The Conservative politician said this to journalists on Monday. This week, more than 1.5 million people in England are expected to receive an invitation to the third vaccination. Overall, all over 50-year-olds, people who are particularly at risk, as well as health and care staff, should receive a booster vaccination. I've looked at the facts about the booster vaccination, what the booster vaccinations can do, and I have to say that has to be our priority and we will continue, said Johnson on his way to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Nevertheless, the government in London will make a huge commitment to support the rest of the world, Johnson stressed. We fundamentally agree that no one is safe until everyone is safe, said Johnson. With what do you want to support them? If you use it all of it, forget it. But now let's go to supermarket tests. Amazon already operates branches of this type in Europe. The German retail chain Tegut is experimenting with small shops, and now Aldi is testing a supermarket without a checkout in London. Customers only need an app to shop. They are scanned when they enter. In the store, technology registers who has taken which goods. The price is debited via the app after leaving the shop. We are already looking to redefine what it means to be a discounter, and the technology used in this test will provide us with a wealth of knowledge, said Aldi UK and Ireland boss Giles Hurley. Aldi did not want to reveal exactly in which branch the tests are running. First, employees of the German retail giant are supposed to test the technology, and in a further step, customers will also be tested. The British competitor Tesco is already having cashierless shops tested by employees at its headquarters and is relying on Amazon technology. Aldi is the fifth largest supermarket chain in Great Britain with more than 920 stores. Last year, the discounter offered for the first time to pick up goods purchased online on site, the so-called click and collect, and this is now possible in more than 200 shops across the country. And my next topic, I called it just arrested. In order to stop climate change, environmental activists are resorting to drastic measures. In Berlin, some are on hunger strike, and in London, they have stuck to the London Ring Road. With this action, the M25 again became the target of the activists on Monday. According to the police, they had stuck themselves to the asphalt at several exits and poured blue paint on the roadway. Almost 30 people were arrested, said the authority in the county of Hertfordshire, northwest of London. At the Thames crossing in Dartford, east of the British capital, there were a dozen other arrests when activists tried to block the carriageway. The group Insulate Britain is behind the sit-ins, which had already caused traffic jams and delays on Britain's busiest motorways 3 times last week. The activists are campaigning for comprehensive thermal insulation of houses in Great Britain. A spokesman said the protests would continue until the government bowed to the group's demands. Yeah, that's what I call blackmail. I would not listen to them either. Transport Minister Grant Shapps called on the demonstrators to stop the protests. The actions are completely counterproductive because they produce the emissions that they actually want to prevent by bringing the cars to a standstill, said Shapps. The Conservative politician also did not rule out a tougher approach by the police in order to end the protests. Interior Minister Priti Patel called the protests unacceptable and said the police had to act decisively. The action also met with little understanding from many motorists. Some of them angrily said the action was preventing people from getting to work and hospital appointments, and that it was so alienating the public from the cause. The protesters have made it clear that they want to continue to cause disruption, said a Herefordshire police spokesman. And deliberately blocking a motorway is not only incredibly dangerous, it also affects thousands of citizens, and from my point of view, it's criminal. That's what I say. But now let's go to Scotland. Residents in care homes for older people in Scotland were the first to be offered coronavirus booster vaccinations on Monday. This group will be offered both flu and COVID booster vaccines after the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization advised that they could be given alongside one another. Since yesterday, frontline health and social care workers were able to book an appointment for a booster jab online at NHS Inform. The portal can be used by all health and social care workers to book a flu vaccine. Adults aged 70 years and over and those 16 years and over who are at the highest risk list, previously known as the shielding list, will begin to be contacted by letter or by their GP from the end of September. People on the highest risk list who were severely immunosuppressed at the time of their last COVID-19 vaccination will be offered a third primary dose instead. Other eligible groups, including all those aged 16 to 49 years with underlying health conditions, adult carers, unpaid and young carers, adult household contacts of immunosuppressed individuals, and all adults over 50, will be able to book an appointment online from October. Meanwhile, also since Monday, children and young people aged 12 to 15 years old can go to a drop-in clinic for vaccination if they wish to get their jab before they receive the letter inviting them for a scheduled appointment. Everyone in this age group will be invited for vaccination at a community-based clinic or a school delivery session from September 27th. And now we also have to go to Wales. Rural Affairs Minister Leslie Griffiths has announced the Gloucester Advanced Commons and Organic contracts are being extended until December 2023. The minister also says it is the intention for the basic payment scheme to continue until 2023, subject to the UK government's comprehensive spending review. Over 1.3 million hectares of Welsh agricultural land come under a Gloucester contract, and the continuation of the schemes ensures priority sites and areas in Wales are managed effectively to achieve positive environmental outcomes. This includes conserving and enhancing wildlife and biodiversity, improving soil and water resources, restoring peatland habitats, and contributing to the decarbonization of Welsh agriculture. All existing eligible contract holders will be offered an extension via their RPW online accounts. The minister also announced a further £7 million to extend the Farming Connect programme through to March 2023. Farming Connect has been key in providing important business support to thousands of farmers and foresters across Wales. This has included identifying areas for improvement, developing skills, and helping find more efficient and innovative ways of working. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.